The story begins with a girl named Li Guan narrating her life. She explains that in 1999, when she and her twin sister were born, something super weird happened. Animals in their village started dropping dead for no apparent reason. It's like they saw the twins and decided, nope, we're out. When the twins were born, everyone was shocked. Li turned out normal, but her sister? Oh boy. She came out with 6 fingers on both hands, making her look like she was gearing up for a career as a professional hand model for alien gloves. I mean, was she born or just dropped off by a UFO? The villagers didn't even bother naming her. They just called her the Thing. Yup, not even a cute nickname. Just straight up the Thing. Her birth wasn't even recorded. Like the world collectively agreed, let's pretend that never happened. To make things worse, the doctors confidently predicted she wouldn't survive long. Guess what? They were hilariously wrong. Anyway, tragedy struck early. Leah and her sister lost their mom a week after birth, and their dad, overwhelmed by the situation, took his own life. After that, their grandparents took over and raised them. But here's the kicker. Even though the Thing was alive, the world was told she wasn't. They hid her away like she was some embarrassing family secret. Imagine being so creepy that people lock you in a room and throw away the key. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're just that weird. Fast forward to 2014, and Lee is still living in the same village. But now, pets in the village have started dying mysteriously again, just like when her sister was born. Naturally, the villagers freak out and call a shaman, a powerful woman who also happens to have a bigger ego than her bag of tricks. She struts into the village like she's about to star in her own reality show. One villager, who apparently doesn't know how to mind his own business, points at Lee's family and says, ever since they moved here, weird stuff's been happening. Wow! Thanks, Sherlock. Got any more groundbreaking observations? The shaman and the villagers march to Lee's house like they're in some medieval witch hunt. Lee sees them coming and warns her grandparents, who go into full lockdown mode, shutting all doors and windows like it's an apocalypse. The shaman tries to get in but has to leave empty-handed because, well, doors exist. So much for being all-powerful. Defeated by a basic lock. Inside the house, things get even juicier. Lee reveals that her sister is still alive but kept hidden in a secret room because, let's face it, her appearance is nightmare fuel. Lee herself is normal except for a limp, but her grandparents are always praying for her sister, like she's the devil's intern. I mean, if prayer worked, don't you think she'd have stopped being creepy by now? And that's where the story really starts to take off, with more secrets, drama, and the occasional roasting of this peculiar family. Wherever Lee's family went, they couldn't stay for long. Why? Because of the evil member of the family, Lee's creepy twin sister. The pattern was the same every time. They'd move to a new place, and soon after, animals would start dropping dead like they were auditioning for a horror movie. It got so bad that the family had to pack up and leave every 2 or 3 months. Honestly, they were living like nomads, except instead of bad landlords, it was a twin sister scaring the life out of every animal within a 5-mile radius. To make things even stranger, Lee's sister only ate food brought in from outside. She's like a picky eater, but make it demonic. They couldn't let her out of the house because her terrifying appearance would have led the villagers to form an angry mob. Let's face it, she was one scary customer. Meanwhile, the shaman, feeling all proud and full of herself, was determined to banish the evil. She couldn't resist the mystery surrounding Lee's family and decided she had to uncover their secret, no matter what. This woman probably thought she was in her own action thriller. Too bad she forgot that horror wasn't her genre. One night, the shaman snuck up to Lee's house. From the backyard, she heard a baby crying. Intrigued, she moved closer, only to be greeted by loud barking from some dogs the family had been raising. As if that wasn't enough, the real horror show began. A snake slithered out of the creepy sister's room and bit the shaman. But wait, there's more. Suddenly, more snakes appeared, swarming like they'd just RSVP'd to a party. It was like the snake version of a flash mob, and the shaman was their unsuspecting audience. Terrified, the shaman ran for her life, realizing she'd never faced such a powerful force before. Guess she's not as all-powerful as she thought. Imagine being scared off by a bunch of slithery bodyguards. In the next scene, we meet a new character, Pastor Park. If he looks familiar, that's because he's played by the same actor as the main guy from Squid Game. But unlike the desperate contestant he played there, this guy runs a shady organization that exposes fraudulent religious cults for profit. Basically, he's a scammer calling out other scammers, irony at its finest. This time, Pastor Park has set his sights on a cult called Dong Bang Yo, or Deer Mountain. The reason? Rumors were swirling that a member of this cult had recently killed a young girl. Smelling a story and probably a fat paycheck, Park began investigating. Turns out, this cult actually followed Buddhist teachings. But unlike most Buddhist groups that take donations, this one claimed to do the opposite. They gave money to their followers. Wow! A cult that hands out cash? Sounds like the least believable pyramid scheme ever. Park met with other Buddhist monks to discuss the cult. Most of them didn't see any problem with it, but one monk voiced his doubts. He warned that if they didn't stop this cult, something big and dangerous could happen in the future. This guy was basically the Buddhist version of, "Don't say I didn't warn you." The monk's concerns were tied to a recent scandal. A man from the cult had allegedly raped a girl and killed a monk. While most of the monks dismissed these rumors, one of them decided to help Park with his investigation. And honestly, kudos to that monk. Every investigation needs at least one person who doesn't just roll their eyes and say, "Not my problem." Pastor Park, being the drama magnate that he is, decided to continue investigating the cult. He asked the monk to fetch the cult scriptures and religious books. Because nothing says, "Let's bust a cult," like a book club meeting with shady literature. Park hoped these texts would either expose the cult as fraudulent or confirm its legitimacy. Either way, he was excited about the idea. You can almost picture him thinking, "This is either my next paycheck or my next sermon." Meanwhile, the investigation into the murder of a 10 to 12-year-old girl revealed something horrifying. The poor girl's body was buried inside a concrete wall. Yeah, because clearly, hiding bodies in normal places wasn't dramatic enough. Even the police were baffled by how bizarre and dangerous this murder was. Cut to the next scene. A truck driver working for a construction company gets home. There, he meets a man named Gwang Mok, and things take a dark turn. Stepping outside, the driver finds the girl's dead body. Gwang Mok casually tells him his job is done, and oh, by the way, he has to eliminate him because the police are already after him for being a suspect. Imagine thinking your worst problem is a flat tire, and then finding out it's actually your boss trying to kill you. What's even weirder? Gwang Mok and the truck driver were acting super close, calling each other king. Because apparently when you're planning murders, it's important to sprinkle in some royal roleplay. On another front, Kim Cole-Jean, another oddball in this mess, kept having disturbing visions of murdered girls hanging from somewhere. He confessed to Gwang Mok that he'd failed a father, and that at night, he couldn't stop hearing the cries of girls. Someone get this man therapy and maybe a Netflix subscription, so he stops imagining his own horror series. The dead girl's autopsy revealed she was around 10 to 12 years old and born in 1999. The creepiest part? They found beads in her mouth and other evidence proving that a human, not some supernatural force, committed the crime. Great, because it's not like this story was already creepy enough without beads and dead bodies. Connecting the dots, the police tracked Kim Cole-Jean to his location and discovered he was behind all this madness. At the same time, Pastor Park was knee-deep in his investigation. He ordered a scripture book from the cult and learned that they worshipped the 4 guardian kings of Buddhism. These kings were believed to protect the north, south, east, and west from evil. Suddenly, it all made sense why Gwang Mok and Kim Cole-Jean kept calling each other king. They were members of the cult, thinking they were fulfilling some grand, ancient duty. Because obviously, murdering people and hiding bodies in concrete is just another day at the office for self-proclaimed guardians. Park discovered that the cult wasn't just limited to 1 or 2 branches. They had 4, spread across the 4 directions. He had already found 2 of them, and was now hunting for the remaining 2. Soon enough, he found the 3rd location. There, he stumbled upon photos of the 4 guardians, and a diary filled with more secrets. Honestly, Park is like Indiana Jones if you replace ancient artifacts with creepy cult diaries. The scene shifts to Kim Cole-Jean. The police had already reached his house, and were casually sitting near his mother, waiting for him to make his next move. Kim Cole-Jean called his mother on the phone, sounding like he was auditioning for a tragic movie. He told her, "My time has come, I'm leaving, I'll meet you in heaven, and God will be so proud of me for everything I've done." Oh yeah, buddy. God's gonna be thrilled about your concrete wall and bead mouth projects. Real Nobel Prize-worthy stuff. Hearing this, the police dashed to the terrace like it was a rooftop sale. But by the time they got there, Kim Cole-Jean had already taken his own life. Gwang Mok, his so-called friend, realized what had happened and seemed genuinely upset. Because who else was going to play king with him now? In the next scene, we meet a woman who is the head of a branch of the cult. She handed over a personal document to Gwang Mok. This document had been requested by Kim Georgian, another cult member. Inside the document, there were details about a girl named Lee, who had been telling us stories earlier about her evil sister. Honestly, at this point, the number of side plots here is giving Game of Thrones a run for its money. Meanwhile, Pastor Park was doing what he does best, digging into cult secrets. He showed a diary he found to a monk. After some research, they discovered it wasn't just any diary, but the scripture of Kim Ju-sok, one of the cult's founders. The diary included a prophecy about a battle between good and evil. Because every cult needs a dramatic prophecy. It's like their version of a mission statement. Turns out, Kim Ju-sok wasn't just your average cult leader. He was born in 1890, lived for way longer than anyone should, and had started thinking he was the reincarnation of Lord Buddha, calling himself Mephiah. Apparently, humility was not his strong suit. The head monk revealed to Park that Kim Ju-sok had adopted 4 children during his life. These kids were raised as his 4 protector kings, inspired by the 4 guardian kings of Buddhism. But here's the kicker. These four kings didn't exactly grow up to be model citizens. In fact, they killed their own adoptive father. So much for all that religious reform. Guess he should have tried parenting classes instead. Kim Joo-sok had showered them with money and tried to mold them into mini versions of himself. Instead, they became killers. Out of these four kings, here's what happened. Kim Kol-jin? Yeah, that guy who just committed suicide? He was one of them. Clearly, being part of this royal club came with some serious mental baggage. Two of the other kids had already been killed long ago, one in an explosion and the other in a violent incident involving an immigrant girl and her mother. Not exactly the heroic guardianship Lord Buddha had in mind, huh? The last one left? None other than Gwang Mok himself. Because every messed up cult needs that one guy who sticks around, doubling down on the crazy. So now, Park had connected the dots. The cult leader thought he was Buddha, raised four kids to be his protectors, and it all went horribly wrong. Honestly, the whole thing sounds like the worst recruitment strategy ever. The scene picks up with Gwang Mok, real name Lam Na-han, the last surviving boy adopted by Kim Joo-sok, who was tasked with killing Lee. Gwang Mok heads out to confront Lee, but things take a hilarious turn when he encounters Lee's sister, the so-called Evil One. Let's just say she scared him so bad, he practically redefined what it means to run for your life. Who knew Gwang Mok, the big bad guardian, could get spooked like a cat seeing a cucumber? Shaken to his core, Gwang Mok hides in a center on Deer Mountain, plagued by creepy nightmares of dead girls and eerie cries. His mom, Hui, shows up to calm him down, singing a lullaby. Yes, our tough guy needs a bedtime song. Someone call him a teddy bear while we're at it. In the next scene, Gwang Mok ends up in a hospital where he meets a henchman named Hedgeman and their cult leader, Kim. Now, Kim is supposed to be Buddha reincarnated, but honestly, he looks like he's been through several reincarnations all at once. If this guy is Buddha reborn, someone should have upgraded his divine glow because he's looking more like an expired coupon. Hedgeman informs Gwang Mok that to save Kim, he must kill Lee and her sister, who is apparently referred to as Snake. Killing them will preserve the light in the world and vanquish the darkness. It all ties back to an ancient prophecy written in the cult's book, which hinted that someone, the Snake, would come to destroy Kim. Prophecy or not, this whole setup sounds like the plot of a bad soap opera where everyone's just winging it. Meanwhile, Park, who's hot on Gwang Mok's trail, manages to steal some important documents from the cult center. The documents reveal more about Lee and her connection to Kim. But just as Park starts to piece things together, Gwang Mok crashes his car into Park's and steals the documents back. Real smooth, Gwang Mok. Nothing says guardian of light like committing grand theft auto. Park eventually learns that a famous Tibetan monk is coming for Christmas, and this monk apparently knows Kim. Park meets with the monk, who reveals that Kim had achieved immortality and believes himself to be the incarnation of Lord Buddha. But there's a catch. Kim refuses to leave his body and let go of his worldly desires, making him an imperfect incarnation. Basically, Buddha 2.0 came with some serious bugs. Someone forgot to install the humility patch. The monk also drops a bombshell. Kim was cursed. 100 years after his birth, someone would rise to destroy him. That someone? None other than Snake, Lee's evil sister. To protect himself, Kim had adopted 4 boys, his so-called guardians. But 3 of them are already dead, and Gwang Mok is the last one standing. So, the guy who claims to be immortal is relying on a bunch of traumatized orphans to save him. Solid plan, Kim. Truly divine leadership. Park finally pieces together that Kim was born after 1890 in a village and had been manipulating everything since then. If this is what enlightenment looks like, I think we'll all stick to Netflix and chill. Lee and his so-called evil sister, often referred to as the Snake, were born with one purpose: to kill Kim. Now, Kim is still alive, and there's a catch. Dachi's twin sister is also alive, but as soon as Kim dies, she'll die too. Talk about a 2-for-1 special. It's like their lives came with a weird cosmic BOGO deal. Park, ever the detective, discovers more clues. He learns about an ancient religious cult book that mentions 81 evil beings. Basically a who's who of demons. These beings had to be eliminated, and Kim's 4 guardians, the 4 kings, had been handling that grim to-do list. Imagine being so insecure you have to hire hitmen to fight your future murderers. Get a grip, Kim. Park realizes that the construction site girl, who was found dead, was also labeled as evil. The cult had been targeting girls born in a specific village in 1999. Why? Because Kim believed a prophecy that after 100 years, someone would be born to kill him. Naturally, his big brain solution was to have his guardians murder every girl born there in 1999. That's not strategy, Kim. That's paranoia on steroids. When Park digs deeper, he uncovers that 81 girls from the village had been killed, and it was all true. Even Lee was one of these girls, and she's still on the run. But here's the kicker. How did the 4 kings even know who to target? Turns out, all the data on the girls is recorded, except for one missing entry, Lee's twin sister. So, let's get this straight. Kim's whole immortality plan is based on playing Guess Who with a bunch of birth records? Brilliant. Now, Park explains all this to the police chief, who verifies the details. It's confirmed. Kim had been on a killing spree, trying to eliminate anyone who might fulfill the prophecy. You'd think someone claiming to be Buddha reincarnated would be a little less murdery and a bit more zen. The story cuts to Gwang Mok, who has kidnapped Lee and is ready to kill her. But Lee drops a bombshell. She's not the one he should be targeting. It's her twin sister. Lee explains everything about her evil sister to Gwang Mok. Poor Gwang Mok, spending all this time chasing the wrong sibling. Someone give this guy a GPS for murder plots. Gwang Mok finally learns the truth from Lee. She tells him she was born in an evil body, but could eventually become good in the future. To make this happen, Lee asks Gwang Mok to kill both her and her evil twin sister to end their suffering. Classic Lee move. Just casually suggesting a double murder, like it's a to-do list item. Hearing this, Gwang Mok's brain short-circuits. Up until now, he didn't even know Lee had a twin sister. Good job keeping that family drama under wraps, Lee. Determined, Gwang Mok heads straight to Lee's twin sister's house to kill her. But surprise, the twin tells him he's been misled. Turns out, she's not evil or a snake. She reveals she's been living a life of mystery, sitting in a Buddha pose that's more creepy than calming. Seriously, though, if you're trying to look peaceful, maybe tone down the horror movie vibes. Here's the kicker. The twin tells Gwang Mok that the man he's been worshipping as his father, Kim, isn't even his real dad. She drops the wild truth bomb that the real father, the true avatar, will have 6 fingers. Gwang Mok is floored. Then we see the evil twin's scary face. And guess what? She has 6 fingers. Plot twist. She's not just a twin. She's a 6-fingered Buddha upgrade with extra drama. But there's more. The twin explains that when Gwang Mok hears his mother singing in his dreams, it's actually her. She sang to calm him down because she knew there was goodness in him, despite all the chaos. Okay, evil twin, maybe lead with that next time instead of the whole creepy Buddha shtick. Meanwhile, Gwang Mok starts to piece things together. Those dreams the 4 kings kept having about innocent girls hanging? Yep, those were visions of all the girls they murdered. Turns out, they weren't evil at all. The whole thing was a scam by Kim, who twisted the religion for his selfish agenda. So basically, Kim was running a murder cult under the guise of spirituality. Not exactly Buddha behavior. Huh? Gwang Mok, now on a mission, confronts the sick old man everyone thinks is Kim. He checks his hand. Only 5 fingers. 5 fingers? Fake Kim alert. You had one job, dude, and you couldn't even count your fingers. Gwang Mok realizes this guy is just a con artist. But before he can do much, the real mastermind, Kim's henchman, shows up and shoots Gwang Mok. Because nothing says spiritual enlightenment like a sneaky bullet. Turns out, the henchman was the real Kim all along. He had been pulling the strings, creating the 4 kings to do his dirty work and kill innocent girls for his own benefit. Imagine being so evil that even your henchman role is just a cover story. As the chaos unfolds, Park has been secretly watching everything. He's shocked but finally understands the truth. He sees through the henchman's lies and realizes this old man, Kim, couldn't possibly be running such a dangerous cult. Congrats, Park. You solved the mystery 5 minutes after everyone else. Gold star for effort. Kim, the real one, aka the henchman, realizes he has to kill Lee himself to tie up loose ends, so he flees. But Park, being the hero, takes the injured Gwang Mok with him. Together, they're determined to stop Kim before he can cause more destruction. Gwang Mok was determined to stop the henchman once and for all. The henchman, being the overconfident villain he was, even offered Gwang Mok a position as his personal protector. Yeah, because nothing says team player like asking someone who hates you to join your evil squad. Bold move, henchman. But Gwang Mok wasn't buying it. His confidence was shaken and his focus was clear. Meanwhile, Park decided to channel his inner action hero. He drove at full speed and rammed straight into the henchman's car to buy Gwang Mok some time. Park clearly thought he was in a Fast and Furious movie. Dom Toretto, who? He quickly loaded the injured Gwang Mok into his car, ready to face the chaos that was about to unfold. As they regrouped, Gwang Mok confronted Kim, the so-called master. He told Kim straight to his face that he could never be God because he had killed so many innocent girls just to achieve immortality. Honestly, Kim, if your sales pitch is murder equals godhood, maybe rethink your branding strategy. Gwang Mok warned him that he'd burn in hell for what he'd done, but Kim just brushed him off like the smug villain he was. That's when Gwang Mok snapped. He lunged at Kim and started strangling him. In the middle of their struggle, the car they were in lost control overturned and crashed. It was pure chaos. And here's the twist. Kim's supposed immortality turned out to be real. He walked away from the crash without a scratch, while poor Gwang Mok lay on the ground, battered and injured. Immortal or not, Kim's smug, I'm invincible walk was giving major annoying boss vibes. Fuel started spilling out of the wrecked car, and Gwang Mok noticed Lee's gun lying nearby. But surprise, it wasn't a gun. It was actually a special lighter given to him by Lee's evil twin sister. This wasn't just any lighter. It was said to carry the blessing of Lord Buddha himself. Because apparently, Buddha now doubles as a pyrotechnic supplier. Who knew? Gwang Mok realized what he had to do. In a final act of redemption, he lit the fuel with the sacred lighter, unleashing a fire that was anything but ordinary. The flames engulfed everything, including Kim. This time, even Kim's so-called immortality couldn't save him. Both Gwang Mok and Kim perished in the blaze. R.I.P. to Gwang Mok, the guy who finally stopped messing up at the very last second. Elsewhere, Lee was with her sister, who had fulfilled her purpose. Lee's sister, much like Buddha, gave up her body once her mission was complete. Because apparently, in this universe, achieving your purpose means spontaneous combustion. Very motivational. Lee also passed away, symbolizing the end of their journey. At the very end, a preacher, probably the only sane person left, summed it all up. He explained that life's struggles and travels always have a hidden purpose, just like Lee's sister's journey. She had been haunted by the cries of the innocent girls at night, knowing how wrong everything was. She couldn't save them directly, but in the end, she ensured that Kim was destroyed for good. And with that, the movie wrapped up. Moral of the story: if someone offers you a sacred Buddha lighter, take it. You never know when it'll come in handy for torching immortal bad guys.